If there is one actor out there that is by far one of the most insufferable voices out there within the film industry, we have to mention Robert De Niro, because we all know that this is one individual that always likes to blame game, play the victim card, and really say the most nonsense things out there. We all saw what he did throughout 2024, especially before the 2024 election, and everything that happened after that. We know that he went on multiple rants based on how people view Robert De Niro now, based on how so many of his fans, millions upon millions of fans, want nothing to do with the guy anymore. They lost all respect for him, and rightfully so. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. So one thing about Robert De Niro is that he's very vocal. He doesn't hold back. He has no boundaries, and that's what's all wrong with Robert De Niro. He doesn't know when to silence himself and to actually remain quiet for quite a while. Now, we know that his upcoming movie, The Alto Knights, due for release at some point in March next month by Warner Brothers. It's going to be one of the last films of his by Warner Brothers because they want nothing to do with him either after this, and we have a lot more to talk about that. However, when it comes to De Niro actually attacking the public yet again, this is where he goes on yet another mindless tirade about the view on politics, about everything happening in cinema right now, everything in Hollywood / the film industry, the media, the list goes on. And Robert De Niro is only driving away more fans by talking such nonsense. Let's get into this, shall we? Now, look, we know that a lot of people can't even watch a lot of his material anymore. I know a lot of fans out there of Robert De Niro that can't even touch or watch anything to do with merchandise related to his movies, or even see his movies. But what's interesting about this is that with the entire film industry in Hollywood now going through a slow turn of the tide with dropping DEI, while other studios are still doubling down on it all, one major development going on right now involves more to do with Robert De Niro, where he went on yet another rant after losing millions of fans, and his new film, The Alto Knights, is projected now to be a box office failure after 2 failed test screenings within Warner Brothers. Now, De Niro went on to deliver the following. "I think when you are looking at cinema," he says, you are now always going to have a divided audience regardless of what you do, because none of the Trumpers want to support your work out of spite, and that just is how it is, and just how ridiculous our society is right now. And I am seeing it already within my film, The Alto Knights, that is going to redefine crime dramas. Already we have these idiotic people giving us a tough time because I express my politics and I refuse to back down, and how I believe that Trump is just a delusional liar to everyone and to his own supporters. But that's the reality now. Trump has destroyed cinema, both directly and indirectly, especially coming from his supporters that have ruined the film and television business. We deserve better. Actors deserve better, because of how much they and I dedicated our time to these roles that can be quite grueling at times. These supporters of Trump are nothing more than troublemakers. Troublemakers, I tell you, who want to ruin the fun for everyone else, and that's our reality right now, to where we have to deal with this. Cinema is dead because of Trump, and it's a damn shame. Damn shame. He just has to steal the limelight and attention from others everywhere. You see him everywhere because that's who he is. An attention seeker, nothing more. He couldn't live without the attention, nor could his fans, and it's affecting our film, The Alto Knights, now too, for sure. We have witnessed unnecessary criticism for our film that is not only going to be historic, but like I mentioned before, it's going to redefine crime dramas for theatrical purposes. So, before I move on about what Robert De Niro is just, spewing here yet again about cinema is dead this, cinema is dead that, and blaming Trump and his supporters. Look, at the end of the day, people are just tired of Robert De Niro regardless of his, attacks on Trump and his overall issues with Trump. Regardless, I think that his time as an actor is over with. He should retire. He shouldn't even be in this business anymore. He shouldn't be acting as mobsters. And I think it's quite comedic when you look at the Alto Knights, when you have Robert De Niro talking to Robert De Niro because he plays 2 characters. It just comes off as funny and comedic to me. I may be alone in this, I don't know about you, but that's just how I feel when I watch the trailers and the TV spots. It just looked very bizarre to me. But moving onwards, we know that Robert De Niro will never back down, like he says, like he said there. He has no plans to silence his view on politics or refrain from expressing his politics. And it's these type of people that are very self-absorbed that end up destroying their careers. I mean, whether you're an actor, actress, writer, musician, director, producer, whatever it may be, comedian, anything out there, when you drag politics into your career seriously and you get very offended over those that are opposed to your views, that's when you have a lot of problems in your career. That's when you begin to alienate 50 and potentially 75% of your entire core fan base, and even potential newcomers. So, moving onwards, he goes on to continue. I think what some studios are doing right now because of Trump is also frightening. The fact that they are afraid to embrace diversity, equity, and inclusion. You know, all the important things in this business and how that is now fading away is truly something to be frightened about. There is no doubt that this man Trump will send those that are opposed to his agenda out of business. We are seeing this already in this industry. So many actors like myself getting disrespect. We deserve all the respect in this world for the work that we put in, and just how much we sacrifice for these extensive roles in film that test people's emotions when they experience these stories. So again, you have Robert De Niro saying, we deserve all the respect in the world. We don't deserve to have disrespect. And that's typical Robert De Niro. He always goes off on that, right? He always goes on about how he deserves respect because he puts so much time and effort into these roles just because. Not because of how good those roles are, just because he actually gets involved in the process. And that's not how it works, right? We all know that the outcome is what works at the end of the day. Well, what's interesting here, too, is the fact that The Alto Nights is going to be a box office failure. We know that test screenings are not looking good for Warner Brothers, and I think he's taking it out on a lot of those following Trump, and those that support Trump, and those that also want nothing to do with Robert De Niro anymore. And that's all what's wrong with Robert De Niro. He doesn't know quite what to say anymore. He doesn't know who to point the finger at anymore. But immediately it's all Trump's fault, right? It's all Trump supporters' faults. That's just how it is in his mind. But moving on here, he goes on to close. The Trumpers, he says, are nothing but trouble and deeply contributed to the current status of cinema and how it's not getting the support it needs to overview. These are punks, absolute punks that don't even realize that they need actors like me and many others that provide entertainment to escape this world for a couple of hours. And that, to me, is worth everything. Now, again, there he goes again. Blaming, the president here, his supporters there, and going off on how cinema is dead. Now, look, cinema's not necessarily dead. I mean, they could absolutely do some refreshing ideas, some very original ideas if they wanted, but a lot of studios, for many years now, they've been playing it very safe. Either going the DEI route and doubling down on that, or really just doing sequels, remakes, or just rehashed material that's basically the same garbage out there. And that's why I think a lot of people are turning down The Alto Nights. A lot of people are rolling their eyes like, oh, another Robert De Niro mob boss film. Pass. Nobody cares about that anymore. So I think this is a very interesting rant by De Niro yet again. I think he's getting very bitter because we're inching closer toward that release date of The Alto Nights, and I think all hell is going to break loose once it is deemed an actual box office failure. But overall, I would like to hear what everyone has to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.